Lesley, welcome back. We're glad to have you again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Few things have happened since the last time we talked, but I think it's all okay now. I think we fixed everything since then.
Right.
Have you? Like what? What have you got a new president like? Has somebody killed him?
Oh my God, it's gone from bad to worse.
He might not be feeling too well after the rally.
Really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I just read an article that they had 6 staffers test positive.
Wow.
Yeah, who were headed to the rally or whatever, and they nixed them going.
Oh.
Yeah.
Goodness. Tulsa just seems like such a bad idea.
It does.
Yeah. See, we didn't know, nobody over here, I don't think. Did you know anything about Tulsa, I think, Mark? We knew nothing about what happened in Tulsa in the 1920s.
Oh, really?
It was a big massacre, yeah.
Yeah, Black Wall Street. It's just not that commonly known amongst white people in general. It's really not. I mean, I'll be completely honest. I didn't know about it until like a comic book series I read a long time ago. Watchmen. Yeah. They brought it up. Yeah, that's where I learned about it. Yeah.
Well, that's what didn't Trent and Atticus, or was it Nine Inch Nails, did the music for the TV series for that, Watchmen, just because I saw a little bit of it just before the Pigface tour started. Mary and I were watching a bit of it. It looked really good.
Oh yeah, really good show, and it was a graphic novel before that as a comic.
Yeah, I got the original back in '85.
Did you? Yeah. The Mark's is a graphic novel, isn't it?
Yeah.
And your darling.
I am a bit.
I'm not a big comic head, but that's one of them I really like.
It's a good choice.
It is good.
Yeah, I usually go, for the artwork over the story.
Yes.
Out, but
yeah,
and and the thing is, it was like when he was going to schedule it on Juneteenth originally, I actually gave him the benefit of the doubt for a second. I was like, maybe he's going to try some half-assed attempt to smooth over racism in America and like use Juneteenth as like, his platform. But it's like, nope, apparently he just wasn't even aware of it. He's like,
a lot of people didn't know, and the world should thank me for making it better know. He really wants credit for making Juneteenth more known of.
Right.
Even though he didn't even know what it was.
Right.
When he scheduled the rally. But he made it famous.
I do love the way that if he hasn't heard of it, he automatically tweets something like, "Oh, nobody had ever heard of it."
Right. A lot of people didn't know this. No, we did.
Because he knows and everybody else.
Yeah.
So, has it happened yet, or is it still going on? The march?
It's not happened. Well,
it's not happened yet.
The rally's not happened yet.
No. They're converging, but
it's today, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it might be happening right now. I don't know.
It might be.
I don't know what the time is, but it was originally supposed to be yesterday, which was Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And then I think they're doing it today, and something like 100,000 were coming into Tulsa. People were camping out. They're doing all kinds of. They're doing it indoors, and Tulsa is one of the hot spots for COVID right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then all those guys that bust in are just going to bust back to wherever they came from, carrying little passengers with them.
Oh yeah,
and will explode again.
Right, and this is the population that that thinks it's a big conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to, we're just trying to attack their freedoms by making them wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
I know, isn't that pathetic?
Scary.
I've kind of given up trying to argue against them, though. I think
you can't.
It's pointless. It's like they have made their choice, and regardless of whatever argument is presented to them, no matter how good the argument is, they're just ignoring it because it's a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing to do with reality or fact or anything. They are adamant they're going with the orange one.
Yeah.
It's like Sam Harris says, isn't it? If somebody doesn't believe in reason and logic, you can't use reason and logic on them. It doesn't work.
Right.
You block them. You tell them to fuck off. And you shun them like the shunnable things they are. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You are shunned. Shunned from here. Never come back.
But yeah, I mean, that's what you're seeing. I mean, you see it too on social media. It's just funny. They used to go on tirades trying to defend him.
Yeah.
And now somebody just will eviscerate any argument he has, just like his thing the other day with, we'd have significantly less cases of COVID-19 if we just stopped testing for it, wouldn't we?
Right.
It's like, we would, honey.
Right. The best analogy I've heard for that is it's like saying we'd have less pregnancy if we stopped testing for it.
Yeah. And it's like, but all you'll see in rebuttal is Trump 2020. They just don't even bother anymore. They're just like, they're holding up a sign. At this point, they just want to.
Right.
Where are you guys?
We're right in the middle.
What part of the country are you in? I've forgotten.
The Red Sea. Yeah.
What?
In Missouri.
Missouri. Oh.
Yeah. Matt's in Kansas City.
Yes.
And I'm in Columbia.
Right.
So, I mean, Columbia is sort of a like I say before, it's a blue island. It's where all the universities are and stuff in the middle of the.
Right.
We're pretty liberal right here, but the round of us until you get to Kansas City or St. Louis is just a sea of red.
Right. It's within the cities in Missouri, those are mostly blue.
Uh-huh.
The rest of the states are very deep red.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of true for pretty much everywhere, though? I'm kind of, my mates in New Orleans say, well, New Orleans is totally blue. As soon as you get out of the city, it's all red. And unless you're in California or
yeah. It's very misleading, though, isn't it? Because when you look on the map, the counties may be red, but they may have 700 people in them, whereas the cities, thousands of millions. I mean, Louisiana's got a Democratic governor, I think.
I think so. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think he's still going to... Because I remember last time we spoke, you totally thought he was going to get it.
Well, I mean, I think it's still a possibility. I read this thing from Michael Moore today that one thing that really kind of stood out to me with it is that we're just not that jazzed about Biden either.
Yeah.
And we all kind of know what happened last time, that everybody kind of voted for the lesser of two evils, or, nobody was really stoked about Hillary either.
Yeah.
And especially in the swing areas, we've got that issue of the Electoral College here, just like you're talking about, with the small counties around us having such minimal populations. But, and the same thing goes for states in general. They just get more and more seats. They get more and more votes. I mean, you got to remember, he lost the popular vote.
Yeah.
The Electoral College is just absurd. I mean, it's sort of, what is it? I think it's
all like 14
55 Californians are equivalent to one Wyoming voter.
Right.
Oh, my God. Really? Oh, my God.
In the Senate, yeah.
Why?
Well, they argue that we don't want a president of California. We want a president of everybody. And we want equal representation. That's the only way we can do it, is by taking votes from you.
Right.
And you give us some of your votes. And turns out just all the flyby areas and all the areas with rural populations and everything else add up to so many more votes that, you'll see.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happens.
I make the argument all the time with them, too, because they're anti-socialist. And I'm like, this is the socialist as it gets.
Right.
Absolutely. When your vote means absolutely nothing, and it's going to be decided by, somebody at the top, somebody who's privileged to be part of the Electoral College.
Right. Technically, vote does not count for the presidency. It doesn't. It comes down to whoever is got the Electoral College votes.
Uh-huh.
And they can still choose whatever they want to do.
That's the crazy shit. They can just, they can look at everybody's votes, even if it's popular, and say, you know what, I'm the representative. Nope, I'm not going to vote for him. Just change their mind. So your vote can literally get thrown away.
How many Electoral College people are there? How many votes in Electoral College?
Oh, you're asking me too many government questions.
Well, I mean, it's per state.
I can fill in that. I can fill you in on that.
I
think you need 270 votes to win.
Is it? It sounds like yours is just about as bad as ours, because Scotland doesn't have a vote either. Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland don't have much of a vote. Ours doesn't matter for the British Parliament either.
Oh.
But then, the north of England is kind of like Scotland anyway, and they're fucked. I think they get the worst of both worlds, because they're just ignored by the British government pretty much, and Scotland has to be. They have to kind of pay us at least lip service,
more or less. We live in quite a I suppose it will be a purple state.
Yes.
If our county. But I moved here. I used to live in London for 30 years, and I had no idea when I moved here to the south of Scotland. I moved in next door to just a fantastic singer and like a personality, a really cool person. It was the luckiest neighbourhood I've ever had.
We have lots of money to say that.
And one of my mates worked in the music industry. He worked in LA in music production, and when he saw Lesley's name on my Facebook friends, he went, "Oh my God, is that Lesley Rankine? Oh, I love Pigface. Oh my God, she's so amazing. You live next door to Lesley." Said, "Yeah, she's a big fan."
That's awesome.
Said, "Can I get her autograph?" I was like, "I'm sure."
You know what? I'm going to say that of all of our guests, you've probably got more of a reaction from other guests.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you've got some fans.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Is that because I swear a lot and I'm usually drunk?
Several of them have just been like, "Wow."
Yeah, you're a musician's musician. We get a lot of musicians that are like,
"Oh, that's nice."
Well, she's even trying to make a musician out of me. I mean, I got Logic Pro X installed on my new Mac just randomly, and we were listening to a new track of Lesley's. And I said, "Oh, it'd be really good to do a dance mix of this, a dub mix with the vocals."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Right, that's your job."
Exactly. She's just trying to farm out the work. That's a lot of editing.
Yeah, it's well, you can string two beats together, do a remix, and you're doing it.
Although the new remixes of your track are amazing. I mean, her brother has done an amazing job. Amazing production job on them.
Yeah.
He does. He's a good lad. My big brother.
Really good. So let's talk about that a little bit. Yeah, especially that's what kind of spurred me out. I wanted to get you back on to talk about that. And so remixing Saltpeter.
Yes.
And how's the process going on that? I mean, the tracks come out just great, but how's it going?
It's fits and starts, I suppose. It's like mostly fueled by panic, because I meant to do it last year, but then my mum got ill and we were looking after her and stuff, and then she died a couple of months ago, and I was thinking, well, it's just too late to do anything now.
Yeah.
And then one night I came up with I can't remember what I came up with a version of The Whole Is Equal, not the one that's actually gone out, but I came up with another version of it, and it was really good. And I thought, fuck it, let's go for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think we're now just going hell for leather to try and I thought, the other thing is, I thought there was only 9 tracks on Saltpeter. And then turned out so we've got 11 songs. Well, not I'd already done a new version of Flipping the Bird. So we're just remaking them all completely from scratch. And so that basically we don't have to go to Sony and say, can we have the rights to release this, or have to deal with anybody in an office. We're just, because we're completely remaking it.
Oh, nice.
So they can all fuck off.
Right.
And we're just doing it all ourselves, just to get it out there and to get it, because it's 25 years since it was released. So
and your brother's a guitarist.
Aye. I mean, my brother has always been a musician since he was like 9 or whatever. He started playing guitar, and he's one of these guys that can pick up any instrument and just play it within like 5 minutes.
Mm.
And he's a brilliant producer, and he's got a fantastic ear and really good at mixing in particular. And also he knows what I like, and he knows I like it a bit weirder than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the really raw versions before Lesley sent it to her brother, and then when they came back and he'd done all these things. I mean, I used to DJ myself, so I've got a little bit of an ear for some stuff. And I was really impressed with the depth that he'd added to them, and he just really created a kind of brightness around certain tracks. He'd really balanced the vocals nicely. They were really superb.
Yes. Because I'm good at coming up with ideas and the farty little weird sounds and stuff like that. But they need put together high, but they need polished up.
Right.
A bit of sparkle to them to make them actually listenable.
Right. So were you able to get any of your masters or anything from that original?
No. Well, I actually spoke to them last year. I spoke to somebody in their offices, and they had all but 2 of the masters Sony have somewhere in some crypt somewhere. So, which is, I was quite surprised because I just imagined that they would have chucked them in a garbage can about 10 years ago or something. Yeah.
Well, shit, we were talking about that big fire that happened in 2003. Yeah.
What fire?
Massive fire.
2008, I think they had.
All right.
Or 8, was it?
Yeah, they had a big fire. Lost tons of masters.
Oh, tons of masters. Yeah.
Classic ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like Billie Holiday type masters.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of stuff from the 90s, too. And like, no doubt, it just comes to the top of my head that they lost theirs for like Tragic Kingdom.
Right.
Yeah. The funny thing is, they're not really making that. I mean, the fire was public knowledge and everything, but they're not really like, there was a lawsuit, too, against them.
Right.
Like Gwen Stefani, I think it was, because like they didn't inform anybody. They're just waiting for people to call and say, "Hey, can I get a hold of those?" We kind of lost those. So they're not like informing people.
Oh.
Or they weren't.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, somebody ran out with mine.
Yeah.
Some treasured soul grabbed mine from the vault.
Right.
And ran out with
Wait.
Move
out of the way. Grab Ruby while you can.
Grab Ruby.
Fuck the easy listening. Let it burn. We've got to get to that industrial.
I'm back all the way here. I had no idea that had even happened. So that was all news to me.
Yep.
But I didn't want to just release a remastered version or something because that's just boring. Because we've heard it, and remastering doesn't really make, it might brighten it up a bit or whatever, but who cares? I quite like the original. And I just think, well, leave the original where it is and let's do something completely new.
All right, on. So all the other tracks have more of an acoustic feel too, do you think? Or is it going to be kind of all over the place?
No, the original idea was to do a completely fully produced version and an acoustic version and release them both at the same time.
Okay.
But we're not going to have time to do that. So it will be the fully produced version and then the acoustic version, or the electroacoustic or acoustic electro. What would you like? Electroacoustic or acoustic electro? What do you think? One of the that'll come out like next year, something, beginning of next year or something.
Okay, cool. All right.
Because I love acoustic stuff, and especially the way my brother plays acoustic guitar. He's brilliant. So
I look forward to hearing more of that. That's exciting.
Yes, I'm quite excited. But then generally I'm quite excited most of the time. I'm quite excited about version. Mark and I go out for bike rides quite often, don't we?
Yeah, we did 16 miles today.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot.
But absolutely fun. I had to go for a lie down when I got home because it was just a bit too much for me. Yeah. But we have quite a good laugh. And I'm teaching them to speak Scottish. And today's word, kiddies, was, what is it?
Havering.
Havering. And
havering.
You need to define havering.
Havering means to talk shite.
Ah.
Because only in the language is there one word that means talking shite.
As in, you're havering now.
Havering again. That kind of thing.
Havering.
Aye, you're havering.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Use it in a sentence. I took your havering you. Or when I haver. Oh, I know I'm going to be the man that's havering.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ah, there you go.
That one.
Yeah, we know that reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a total Proclaimers moment on the bike ride this morning.
You got a good start on 500 miles.
Yeah.
Hi. Well, we'll be doing that in the morning. I don't think. But we've had some dinner and we're having a couple of glasses of wine because it's it might be a few going to
a wee bit of wine.
A wee bit of wine, aye.
Yeah, that's always different when we talk to you, especially in Scotland. It's just like we're having coffee.
Yeah. So are you 6 hours behind then? What time is it with you?
2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
2:30. So yes, you're 6 hours behind. Mm-hmm. Yes. It's 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yep. We've been pretty good. We only started drinking about an hour and a half ago.
All right, and we've only had a couple of glasses.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, the bloody glasses that've got half a bottle.
don't have really big glasses. You have to keep getting up.
So where's the wine from? What are you drinking?
Just now it's Prosecco. I've no idea where it is, where it's from. It's Italian, actually.
Oh, Italian.
We've got a bottle of Chilean Sauvignon Blanc to go on.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
It's Scotland. Drinking is part of the national.
Yes,
it's a national pastime. Really.
Aye.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of compulsory, really.
Yeah, it is. From the age of about 12, part of the the Scottish Olympic drinking team.
This could be the U.S.'s year with that. I don't know. I think our drinking has picked up.
Oh, yeah.
In the last year, a lot of Americans are probably drinking more than they have been.
Yeah, it's skyrocketing. Yeah.
Aye, and especially with lockdown. Fucking A.
Yep.
Yeah, what else are you going to do? You know?
Are you guys at all still locked down, or is everybody just forgetting about it and just going about their daily business?
It's 50-50.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as like city restrictions and state restrictions, they're done. I mean, they're just said,
right.
It's kind of like I said before, it's like Vietnam. We just pretend that we won by giving up and just walking away. Cases are skyrocketing. But yeah, as far as like any restrictions, like there's no more social distancing required here in like Colombia or anything. But a lot of people are doing it just out of personal choice. They're like, fuck you, it's not safe out there.
Right. But honestly, it's as much because they don't want to pay unemployment.
Right.
Aye, absolutely.
Oh, you can go back to work because we don't want to pay you not to work.
Yeah, we can't afford it.
That's what it comes down to. And because they have fucked up the budget so much that, they can't.
Yeah.
What about the artists that you're interviewing? Are you finding that lockdown has stimulated the creative process, or are people finding that it blocks them?
Well, I mean, as far as recording and stuff goes, I think a lot of them they're still kind of plugging along with writing, but they're really having to focus so much on the business end of things without tours, without shows,
right.
So it's promotion of merch. So I guess in that way, it's probably kind of hindered the process.
Right.
It's just that people have to focus so much on that. And that's what I'm trying to do is buy as much merch as I can here and there. And
right.
A lot of people are switching over to Patreon and
right.
just really upping their Bandcamp game and stuff to try to compensate. So,
and Bandcamp's been doing some pretty good stuff to try and keep people we're giving our share up to the artists, or
Aye.
a percentage goes to this not for profit whatever cause. I think is what they were doing this weekend, and I'm glad that they're doing that. You see, and I'm sure you see it there too, with just different artists popping up.
I didn't actually know anything about it because I keep my head in the sand and I live in the countryside and ignoring everything. But it was actually one of the guys that I'm working with who's doing all the artwork for the new Ruby project, the new Saltpeter project. It was him that told me that they're doing, it was the first Friday in every month for about 4 months, they're giving musicians 100% of their sales, which I think is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Juneteenth thing was they were donating all of their fees to the NAACP.
Mm-hmm.
So they've really stepped up to help, which is fantastic. Which is I don't see iTunes doing anything. Absolutely fuck all.
Right. Or Live Nation.
Aye, Spotify and everybody else, they're just, they're doing absolutely nothing as far as I can see.
Yeah, I mean, Live Nation, I guess, according to the news the other day, was just talking about cutting payments to artists and reduced payments to artists in 2021.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing, I think, with this. It's just like, nobody's learned from this to do anything about helping the economy when we do bounce back. They're just like, oh, look at how many corners we can cut now.
Aye.
And the problem is we've already cut so many corners that we don't really have that much more that we can afford to cut off.
Yeah.
Unless it starts coming from the top 1% and they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like going to a big box store. You just, it used to be packed full of workers, everything else. Now you go there, nobody works there. They figure out the bare minimum of people they can hire just to keep it open.
Right.
I mean, gosh, some of the logistics on that are amazing. I've been reading about it. Like Walmart stores figured out that just even with the lack of security, they could lose so much out of shoplifting and everything else that it was still worth it not to pay people to watch to get the shit stolen because of their profit margins.
Wow. So let's steal more from Walmart.
They can afford it.
That's the message.
Yeah, mass
they don't care.
Stopgap measure.
Yeah.
I read a report in The Guardian today that because the creative industries are really struggling over here, theatre and music, and they reckon that the total combined loss from lockdown so far is £74 billion, which in this economy, that is a huge amount of money.
Oh yeah,
for the creative industry to lose.
And we've still got Brexit to look forward to.
The big word.
You know what? I mean, Brexit is just going to sink without trade. Nothing.
That's the main reason I moved to Scotland is because of Brexit. I was so angry. I've lived in London for 30 years. And when Brexit came in, I thought, fucking hell, fuck you. Scotland, because I'm betting that we will vote for independence.
Aye. Well, that's a good thing, though. If Brexit does happen after this, we're bound to get independence. Oh, yeah. If we don't get independence, I'll be the first one out there with a stick, fucking beating people to death. You can maybe... We're just going to round up a bunch of Tories and beat them into their lives.
Music news. Lesley Rankine threatens to go on rampage.
Lesley Rankine postal.
He's lucky they take no notice of musicians at all.
Yeah. Especially drunk when sitting in their living room.
Give me one more glass of wine and a big stick.
May I ask a question to Lesley? What's next after you've done the reboot, the reconstruction of Saltpeter? What's next on your creative agenda?
Well, on my creative agenda, there'll be I think it was 1st of November that the original Saltpeter was released, so the properly produced one will be being released on the 1st of November this year.
Oh, cool.
And then maybe February or March or something, bring out the acoustic one. And the thing is, also, I've been working on this new album since about 1845. So hopefully I'll get that done next year. I've got, my mum's away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, son is leaving home next year, and I'll have my life back. And fucking A.
There you go.
Gets things done. I've been working on this album since 2014. In fact, since Waiting for Light came out, I started working on this new tracks and for an album called Built for Storms. Mm-hmm. So that'll hopefully come.
Built for Storms. Where did you get the title?
I've no idea.
I was hoping there'd be a story.
Well, I suppose that's just women, innit?
Built for Storms.
Yeah. What? I was thinking of the shit we have to put up with. Built for Storms.
That's a really good title.
Anyway, and it means I can do artwork about people that have all their faces battered in. And bloody and bruised and stuff like that, and gore, which is kind of what I like to do. I like to do nice watercolours of people who have gone 10 rounds with Tyson.
Yes.
He's coming back.
Yep.
Is he? Oh, God.
He's got a booming cannabis business right now, doing real well out there in California.
Is he?
Yeah, but he's back. I saw a couple videos of him throwing some punches, and still scares the shit out of me. I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in front of one of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to run into him on a bad night.
My taking punches days are over anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So is cannabis? Is it calmed them down a bit?
Different places. I mean, West Coast. All up and down the West Coast is now. It's completely legal, just recreational, everything.
Yeah, Colorado and it technically is here
medical.
Right.
They haven't got any facilities opened up yet.
But
yeah, recreational isn't open.
I'm constantly amazed that parts of America have legalized cannabis.
Oh yeah,
and even slightly more conservative parts of America have legalized cannabis before Britain has.
Oh God! We're just the world hypocrisy.
Absolutely.
I mean, we produce 65% of the world's medical cannabis.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But medical cannabis is not available here in the UK.
Right.
I mean, that's how ridiculous this stupid country is.
Yes.
We can't trust our populace with what we produce. I mean, it's just insane. I hate them.
That is very weird. So you can legally produce it and sell it outside the country?
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Weird. 65% of the medical cannabis is produced in the UK.
Where the fuck are they producing
it? There are huge cannabis farms in the centre of the UK. Huge ones.
Where?
Sounds like a bike ride.
Car break here. We were talking about this earlier, actually, because my best friend lives in LA. So when I was out there last, he lives in the Hollywood Hills now. He lived in Beverly Hills before, so I've been totally spoiled for LA. I think LA is a fabulous place. But we got completely wasted on cannabis gummies and the kind of little toking pens and stuff, and just had a ball.
See, that's just so civilized, and it's probably far better for you physically.
I must admit, I didn't find my economic activity was impacted at all, really.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh. Well, it's going to be far better for your liver. The only thing it might affect is your brain if you're not quite suited to stuff, or if you do a bit too much of it. But, fuck that. Who needs a brain?
Right.
Your brain.
I guess you'll be saying MAGA now.
Oh, no, never ever.
It's an intoxicant for sure. I mean, and nobody's denying that. But, just like you say, same thing for alcohol, but just much worse for you.
Yeah.
Much more dangerous. And the revenue that they're making in these states is outrageous. The amount of money they're making in taxes.
Yes.
And they're funneling that back into education in Colorado. And
yeah, it's going a long way. And they've got to find new tax money because they're afraid to raise taxes.
Yeah.
I think that's probably part of it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we can tax this and not feel bad about it.
Yeah. Tax the people who are actually enjoying themselves instead of taxing the people who are making huge amounts of money at the expense of their workers, like Jeff Bezos. He doesn't get taxed.
Right. And they keep using the tired trickle-down arguments. They just come up with different names for it every few years.
Sure.
That it's going to, if you just cut the rich people a break, it's all going to...
That's how they got rich.
Filter itself down to everybody else. No. I'm going to buy $1 billion yacht. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Uh-huh. They buy $1 billion yacht, and the rest of it they'll siphon off abroad somewhere.
Right.
And they'll spend it.
No. If you're Betsy DeVos, you buy 10 yachts.
All right. Okay.
She's got 10 yachts. She's the education secretary in the States. Our education secretary,
who's never been a teacher.
All right, DeVos. She was the one who she's been education secretary since 2016 or something, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She got grilled by somebody, whoever it was, asking how fit she was for the job, and she had absolutely no clue about education at all, didn't she?
No, she's got no experience, has never been outside of a private school in her life, has never taught, never been an administrator. She was just kind of a rich person that was an advocate for
private schools.
Private schools, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Her family foundation was the biggest donor behind the paid protesters that went to the Michigan State House with guns, demanding the end of lockdown. Was funded by her foundation.
Her family's creepy.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God. I thought our country was fucked up. In fact, I knew your country was fucked up. I mean, all countries fucked up, and I knew America was fucked up, but I didn't realize it was quite that well nodded. Actually, I did. Sorry.
It's in there?
Yes, and I suppose the thing is that you uncover all these.
Yeah.
You think it can't get any worse, and then it fucking does. And people just have no idea how they've been manipulated.
But you see, I don't think I really understood. I don't think I really understood America until I dated long distance to Colorado for a couple of years. And I remember going into hunting and fishing superstore kind of thing out on this strip in Colorado. And it was just like, I had all these antlers in the front, and they had these gigantic dioramas of bears and fighting and wolves fighting. And they had this huge gun department and all these enormous people going around going, well, I'm going to get my Billy Bob on a shotgun before days out. Billy Bob was about 9 years old.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this place is insane.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, buying guns for children. No.
The Chilean earthquake had just happened at the time, and I was listening to the local news and stuff. I heard about the Chilean earthquake first because a local dignitary's wife was having a fundraiser for the Chilean earthquake, and I thought, what Chilean earthquake? For the first time I heard.
Yeah.
You just don't hear about these
stuff.
things. You don't know any world outside. But then you could squish the into a square. It fits exactly inside Colorado with about 30 miles
border.
Right.
Huh.
We're just
tiny. And
I think I was given my first gun by my father when I was about probably 8 or 9 years old.
Yep.
I mean, he wasn't just like, here you go, knock yourself out, shithead. It was like, it was, went hunting and like I took classes and everything else like that. And he went with me and we went like rabbit hunting and stuff like
Right. We grew up in a part of the country where that was very much a part. That was normal.
It wasn't an AK-47 that he gave you, was it?
AR-15.
No, it wasn't.
AR-15 guns. But so what's an AK-47? Isn't that much the same kind of a thing?
Right.
Isn't that
AR-15 is a much better weapon than an AK-47. Let's not go into that.
All right, okay.
So just an example. Growing up for us, like if you took a gun to school, it was deer season.
Right. Yeah. Especially where we live. Like the kids used to drive back. I mean, a lot of this has been banished since like a lot of the school shootings and everything else.
It's changed since then.
But kids used to have racks in the backs of their pickup trucks, and they would go like into school during deer season. They'd have like a loaded rifle in the back window.
Fucking gosh.
And so when they got out of school, they could go set up and go deer hunting.
Right.
Put on their camouflage in their locker.
And nobody thought anything about it. I didn't think anything about it. It was so normal.
No, I didn't either.
I wonder what the tipping point was, or what was it that set the first person off to start shooting?
I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of it's cultural. I think a lot of it's families. I think sometimes it's communities. But like I was saying, like where we grew up, and just generally in the Midwest, a lot of us didn't equivalate guns with violence necessarily.
Right.
We equivalated them with sport.
Right.
It's like this is for hunting. This is for, maybe if you saw somebody with like a revolver in their pocket or something, you'd be like, oh shit, or,
right.
Or if you're in an urban area where they had no business having a rifle walking around like the streets of Chicago,
right.
that's going to make you nervous.
Yes.
But we just didn't equivalate that. But I don't know. They certainly didn't in areas like Columbine in Colorado either, but that didn't stop those kids.
Right, but that culture's changed, and the NRA has built so much fear into people.
Yeah.
We're going to come take your guns, and nobody said we're going to take all your guns. We're just saying, let's be kind of responsible with this shit, because these things are dangerous, people.
Hi.
And no, they're coming to take your guns. And what happens when they build that fear? Well, people, they'll buy more membership to the NRA. They'll pay into it, and they make boatloads of money. And they go out and buy more guns and ammo because they think they're going to be taken away, and they want to stock up before the government comes and takes everything from them. And the government has never said, we want to take all your guns.
No, they just need to spend giving them to nutcases to build a massive arsenal of arms that they can take to a hotel and just, stick it out the window and shoot hundreds of folks.
Now, what's terrifying is those are the Trump supporters, right? So when he doesn't win, if he doesn't win, there's not any convincing them, because like we talked about earlier, logic is not part of the equation for them, right? You're not going to rationalize it and say, no, your guy really did lose. They're going to be like, it's QAnon and the goddamn liberals have taken over our country, and we're going to take our country back, goddamn it. And they've got guns.
Didn't he say that? Didn't he say something alluding to his intention not to accept the result if he loses? Wasn't it somebody who said something to me recently that had said something like, well, if...
Yeah, he's made allusions to
he has. I mean, what's even scarier about that now is when you've got a pandemic going on and you've got all these national crises, it's a good excuse to say, you know what, we're suspending elections for right now. It's just, it's not a good time to change leadership. And, it's like, shit, that gets scary.
That is a bit scary. I think
if they were that clever strategists, you say they're not very clever strategists.
No.
If that was their intention, then they wouldn't be doing this whole, it's all over, we're moving on from it, we're blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Against that strategy. I think they'd have a lot of difficulty in the intervening pivoting to, we're going to cancel the elections.
Right.
What for the thing that isn't a problem anymore?
That's the thing. It doesn't matter because first you say, "Oh, well, it wasn't a problem," and then suddenly it's a problem, and you'll just turn around and say, "Oh, suddenly it's a problem again."
Right.
I think.
Wash.
Nah.
We just had an example of them not being that clever and it biting them in the ass. So they went to the Supreme Court with the whole DACA.
Oh yeah.
And the Supreme Court's like, "No, you can't do this." And John Roberts, the head justice, basically said, you know what, if you'd have gone about it a little smarter and not been so blatant, you probably could have got this through.
Right.
But it was so blatant that he had to say no.
Yeah.
Right.
Already screwed that up.
He basically told them, if you'd have presented it in a better way, you could have probably passed this. But it was so blatant that this was what you were trying to do that I had to put my foot down.
Right. You blew it, dumbass.
So thank you for being incompetent.
Yeah. Hi. I know. I think he really didn't mean to become president in the first place. I think they've been scrabbling to chase their arses ever since. And I suppose the White House, his staff, are just constantly on alert and scrabbling to try and put a Band-Aid on whatever fuck up he comes up with from day to day.
Yeah. I've held that theory for a while that maybe he didn't. I mean, that's what Michael Wolff said in his book. Yeah. It's just that he never wanted to be elected in the first place.
Yeah.
And he was just going to be, he was going to go up there, he was going to lose, and he was going to blame the swamp and Hillary and, well, what can I do? I guess I'm going to sell more MAGA hats, and he was going to help his brand. He was just going to continue that way. I mean, Wolf said he was in the room when they found out the results, and Melania is crying in the corner, and he's consoling her, saying, "It's going to be okay. Wow. It's going to be okay." Oh, it's like that book's amazing, Fire and Fury. If you ever read it,
yeah, I loved it.
I'm going to have to get that.
Yeah, it's good. Just listen to the audiobook, even it's good. Right. But yeah, what amazes me is how long they let that guy just stay in the room.
Yeah.
He's a fairly conservative author. I guess they thought they were safe as a journalist.
Right.
But then he's just like, holy shit, I can't believe they're saying all this in front of me. They're doing all this right here. I'm sitting here taking notes.
Just testament to how out of their depths they are, though.
Yeah.
Anybody kind of knew what way was up would see somebody sitting at the side of the room watching all this.
Writing it down.
Right.
Who the fuck that guy?
I think part of it, when you're in that world, you live in such a bubble that you think that the majority is out there right there with you. Like, everybody's on my side. Everybody sees it my way. Right. And everything else is a lie. Uh-huh. So they're thinking, oh, this guy probably sees the truth, right?
He's on our team.
And right. And in reality, you're like in the 15 to 20% minority.
Yeah.
Maybe 30. What is it? Trump supporters are 35% of the population.
Oh, yeah, somewhere around there. Well, it changes every day with polls, but yeah.
I heard somebody talk on MSNBC the other day, and he said he thought it was somewhere around the kind of 30, maybe 29, 28%, the hardcore,
right?
The absolute hardcore.
About a third.
Yeah.
And there's a kind of 7% on top that are kind of, lesser of two evils. We kind of don't take him literally, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So who knows if they're persuadable.
Yeah.
Is there any chance you're getting rid of the Electoral College?
No.
Not yet.
I don't know, not yet. There's a lot of movement for it, but I just don't.
If we can, it's going to take turning over the Senate and the presidency for it to happen.
Yeah, it really will.
That's not impossible from what I've heard, because you've got quite a lot of states on the turn. I mean, Montana's looking good for the Democrats. Arizona's looking good for the Democrats.
Yeah.
Maine possibly get rid of Collins.
But your knowledge of what's going on over there, I don't even know what's going on.
No kidding. I'm going to get my news from you.
A lot of friends in America, and they're all constantly like, how do you know so much about U.S. politics,
Oh, shit. We don't even know.
Well, sometimes European news sources are more on it than the American ones can be.
Sure.
I think so. And maybe a broader spectrum of news that we get from the States than...
No, I just watch a shitload of YouTube.
Do you?
I watch Stephen Colbert, I watch Seth Meyers, I watch MSNBC and CNN, and a tiny bit of Fox News if I can stomach it, which is usually for about 5 minutes.
What? You didn't tell me that. Fuck's sake.
Sun Tzu, Know Your Enemy, Art of War.
Yeah.
I love you quoted that. Fantastic.
That's the rule. I mean, you have to scroll that. Hell, I used to, as nauseating it is, I used to commute about an hour to work, and I would listen to like Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
Trying to stomach it. Really hard to do in the afternoon.
I've done, I went through phase doing stuff like that, and then I just get tired of screaming at the radio.
Yeah. Well, I got to a point that I could just shake my head. But the funny thing was, every time that you got home in the evening news, the talking points out of Donald Trump's mouth every day were just down the line. I mean, down to terminology, everything else, turns of phrase, were all the same things that Sean Hannity had been saying. I mean, he was his mouthpiece.
Yeah.
It was amazing to watch. It was just like, that's exactly the sentence, Hannity used on the way home. And they do. They all have their talking points, and you can follow Fox News down the line. It's the same.
If you listen to that stuff, though, too, if you listen to Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh, you can hear like the subliminal things that they're doing if you're paying attention to it. Because they know they have a low IQ audience.
Okay.
They know it.
Yeah.
And what do? They play into that by saying, you are so smart to agree with me.
Yeah.
Right? And they'll find really subtle ways of saying how smart you are to agree with me. And people especially dumb people, like to be told they're smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that the Dunning-Kruger?
Yes, exactly. Dunning-Kruger.
Thing is, I can't stand watching Boris. I can't stand if Trump comes on anything, I have to immediately switch it off. It's like my tolerance for it has gone absolutely down the pan, and I can't stand it. And I'm quite scared about that because it means I'm missing out on what that cunt is saying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll get back to you.
It'll get back to you. Yeah. That's kind of how I'm absorbing it secondhand anyway. I'll just wait for him to say it and then see what he said.
Oh, no, I can't stand it. Yeah. I start getting palpitations, and it's like I'm standing in my kitchen having full-blown road rage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do. It's horrendous, and I have to go and have a lie down.
Whilst it's a totally agonising time the last few years, it's been a very good few years in some ways for artists in terms of what to react against.
Yeah.
Well,
it always is.
Great.
It always like that. And during the Thatcher era, remember all the music that came out then, and whenever there's some wanker in charge and things get much worse for people on the ground, it's always channeled into creativity and much more kind of new and exciting stuff.
Can we expect a political album from you at some point?
No, you can't. No, fuck off. All right, okay. And you write me some political lyrics, and I'll do some.
You had that first. That's an exclusive.
All right, track 1. I'm going to get a stick.
Yes. You know, I've got to say though, I say this on my post on Facebook, was it last night or the night before? There's some things that I keep seeing, like Katie Price. I don't know if you know who she is, but in Britain, she's this hideous right wing. She's kind of like the female Trump.
Okay.
Katie Hopkins, she's absolutely hideous, but she just got banned from Twitter. She's not been banned from permanent ban.
Wow.
She's not been banned from Facebook or anything. There are wee kind of glimmers of things starting to turn round. And I think the thing is, I think we needed this. Liberals needed this, all of this shit to give us a kick up the arse, because we were totally asleep.
Yeah.
We were safe in the idea that humanity progressed every year. We progressed somewhat, even if it was too slow or it was just tiny little bits at a time, at least we progressed. And then these cunts came in and are trying to drag us back to the 1970s, where police can just murder black people whenever they like, and businessmen can just rape the world for whatever they want out of it, poison a water hole, get away with everything. And we needed a massive kick up the arse, and hopefully we have gotten it. The problem is, and also the pandemic, but the problem is, once we get out of this lockdown, I think the instinct to slide back into normality is something it'll be quite hard to fight against, and we have to fight.
I mean, I think the Martin Luther King quote about the long arc of history, and the tide of progress. Look at where we are now compared to where we are even 20 or 30 years ago. You know, when I grew up as a kid, racial slurs were absolutely common and normal. And grew up
homophobia.
The year I was born, it was illegal to be gay. And we were significantly discriminated against until certainly in 1997 it started to change. But the tide hasn't been backwards and we're talking about trans rights a lot. My niece is trans, so she's struggling with it at the moment. She's trans, but I feel that you look at the Supreme Court decisions on LGBT rights, and even a conservative Supreme Court is refusing to hear gun cases. It's ruling in favour of LGBT rights. It's so difficult to roll back this much progress. So I hope to sound optimistic, but I cling on to that grain of hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I don't need to kill myself now because of Instagram to corrode my personality entirely. Sense of self. You laughed at me.
All right,
I look at Instagram and think, I'm a piece of shit. I hate myself. Who is this person? Their life's wonderful. I hate myself. Oh,
See, I don't
don't go on Instagram.
Well, I'm on Instagram all the time. It's my main platform that I use.
But I don't follow the people I follow.
All right, now. I think I have a different experience than everybody else because most of the folk that I follow on and I see on my Facebook feed are nice people who all kind of think the same way I do. No, I don't. Yeah. And my folk on my Instagram feed are all people that are quite nice people. And I think, where are all the trolls that everybody speaks of? It was only that
troll me. I just feel worthless in comparison.
Do you? No.
I've got trolled, but they're my cousins, and my uncles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's the family ones.
Right.
See, I'm the one in my family that I get the job to tell the rubbish ones to fuck off.
Right.
It's always my job to tell, like, my big brother's old rubbish girlfriends it was time for them to fuck off and stuff like that, and crap family members. So, if you want me to tell your trolley cousins to fuck off, I can do that.
Right, but I troll them right back too.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, all right.
They'll post the most ridiculous shit, and that they drive me crazy too. And sometimes I get a little deeper into it than I mean to, because I care about them because I'm related to them and have known them my entire life, and I don't want them to make themselves look like the idiots they're making themselves look like.
Yeah, I certainly have snoozed on a lot more people, deleted a few people. The crazy thing about this is even though this idiot's been president for 3 years, it seems like ever since the George Floyd murder, they're really coming out of the woodwork. I mean, it just surprised me. Like, we friend some people, like for the podcast, or they're fans or whatever, and may not necessarily know them, or they're friends with a lot of bands that that I'm friends with. But yeah, it's like we had one just the other day that I was in a group with about 2 or 3 other band members, and they were like, yeah, we've known this gal for like 2 or 3 years, and she says some things that are a little righty every once in a while. We just kind of ignore it. It's like, to each their own. Like, then just posted a picture of her in full on like Nazi regalia, with her boyfriend, and everybody's like, holy shit.
Oh my God.
And she's just like letting it fly. Everybody delete down the line, got rid of her. But it was just like, holy shit. They're just like, you never know. People just in the woodwork. And I mean, there's been a couple of those that we were all getting on in different rooms. We're like, do you know this guy? No, and everybody knew him. We thought. Just horrible, racial slurs and everything was coming out of people. It's just like, that wasn't even there, 2 or 3 years ago. I really don't understand.
Right. And they will still, I guarantee you, a bunch of them will still argue that they're not racist.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the weirdest fucking shit. Like, I'm not a racist. And I was just saying this last night. In my book, if you feel the need to make the argument that you're not a racist, you're probably a racist.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I hear from him. I get so sick and tired of being called a racist. You have that problem?
I never have that problem. Nobody calls me racist.
Yeah.
I'll question my biases. I'll work on them. I mean, everybody should. Everybody should continue to grow and learn. But
yeah.
And if you're honest, you're going to be able to go, yeah, probably I've got some racist stuff in me. That's not intentional, and that's stuff I can work on.
Right.
Yeah.
But if somebody, that's the question answering itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody keeps calling me racist. You know what I mean? It's you must know by now.
Right.
But usually the people who say I'm racist are the people who just don't have the slightest idea of what racism is.
White privilege is that they're just
they don't know enough to judge whether they're racist or not.
There's a guy on the telly the other night saying, "Oh, I'm white. I don't have white privilege. I worked my ass off for this yacht."
if you have to like make an effort to name black people or whatever color people that you know, you're a racist.
A lot of my friends are, But and people also too are just confusing privilege with wealth, and it's not the same thing. And there's a problem.
Right.
There's a problem and kind of a quandary that goes along with white privilege. Is mainly the reason you don't realize you have it is because you're living in it and you're unaware. You know, when you hail a taxi and it pulls right over for you, you don't know you'll never know what it's like to be a black person. You're living in that. You can't recognize it. And until you see it and you empathize with other people, that's the only way you recognize it. But if you're not going to do that, you're never going to notice it.
Yeah.
Right. You're an infant that doesn't realize how lucky you are to have that boob in your mouth.
Yeah.
Right. Shit, I'm sure I experience it all the time and don't recognize when it happens necessarily. But I know it's there. Sure as hell know it's there. 7 o'clock today, Eastern time, is when the Trump 2020 campaign rally also starts.
All right. I can feel the cooties from here.
Oh, yeah. Let's give us another glass and tune into the Trump.
We'll have a watch party.
I don't want to watch it for what it is, but I know if I don't watch it, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, something crazy like the Oscars or something. There's always some shit that happens, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm not going to watch that. And then you're like, God damn it, I wish I'd have watched it. You know, him storm the stage. Or
we could do like an MST3K kind of thing.
Or overdub it. Yeah.
Where we all just kind of watch it together and make comments.
I don't think I can do it.
No, I end up throwing my glass at the telly. I just can't stand it. I cannot stand the sound of his voice, his mannerisms, everything. Everything.
Bad.
It's making me queasy already.
Well, if you do decide to make like a political project, like some sort of group or whatever, I think Big Stick would be a great name for it.
Yeah.
Big Stick. Oh.
Ooh, that's pretty good, actually.
It's got like an arena rock kind of power pop. Yeah, kind of.
Ah, right.
Been reason about that.
Yeah, I dig that. Big Stick.
Yeah.
Probably already a band.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
It could be a song or album title too.
Yeah.
Listen, it could almost like if you said it the wrong way, it could make it could sound like phallic.
Liner notes. We love liner notes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I was real disappointed. I looked up the other day. Just my favorite name of a band I always wanted to have was I wanted to call them the Monthlies. But turns out there's already a band with that name, so it's taken.
I think you just have to ignore the fact that there's other bands called that name. I mean, in fact, when I started Ruby, I had to pay off some band in Portland or something because they were called Ruby.
Oh, really?
But now there's just millions of bands all have the same name.
That's true. And looking them up, they've only got like 725 likes on Facebook. So maybe we can help them with that, though, just for having a clever name.
We'll have them on.
We'll have them on.
So what was it? You wanted to ask another music question? What was it, Mark?
It was completely unrelated to politics.
Oh, was it? All right.
Carry on.
Music. Yes, so we're supposed to be on the Pigface tour right now.
Yeah.
I should be away. What a bummer, eh? I don't know where we were playing tonight. What date is it?
20th.
This is the end of June 20th.
Tulsa.
Aye, Tulsa. It probably should have been Tulsa tonight.
Yeah.
Fucking A. That would be a laugh. Yeah, we just signed NS along.
Yeah, I was originally supposed to be doing some more like West Coast shit, wasn't it? Or heading that way.
Aye. Well, I think West Coast and then back up the middle. Down to New Orleans again, then back up the middle.
Yeah.
But it was like right up till the beginning of July, 7th of July or something, it was ending. I hope we can reschedule. I noticed Nine Inch Nails have booked a tour in October, so our band's all playing gigs are in the States now.
They're booking them, some of them.
I keep seeing like posts of like, oh, this is tentatively scheduled.
Right.
Yeah. I think a lot of them just said, forget it, just next year altogether. I know because like Faith No More had a big tour coming up.
Yeah.
And they were like, just postponed to 2021 and we're just calling it.
Yeah.
And I think those that made those decisions are stuck or, they're sticking with them.
Yeah.
But I think others that just were up in the air about their plans are like tentatively going to do that. I mean, everything's opening back up. It's just so touchy, man. We read today in Florida, 4,000 new cases of coronavirus in one day.
Oh my God.
The largest increase.
And by the way, that's where they've moved the Republican National Convention.
Oh, is it? Right on.
Yeah.
Isn't it in North Carolina?
North Carolina said, nope, we don't feel good doing it here. And I think it was Jacksonville that stepped up.
Oh, man. I didn't know that.
We'll do it. Bring them to Florida.
Even where we live, I was reading that like Missouri has more active cases than Australia, than the entire continent, just in our state.
Well, we're the ones. Did you see the national news, the Lake of the Ozarks? It went viral.
Right.
Everybody partying.
Yeah, Memorial Day.
At a pool party. Yeah, that was in Missouri where we're at.
Yeah, it's about an hour from my house. That made CNN that day, yeah.
So what do you guys do when you go out? Because you've got kids and stuff as well, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, are you all wearing masks and gloves and stuff when you go out?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I'm working from home, and I'll go into the office like once a week and then come back home and I'll I'll PPE up. And we have my wife does a designated shopping. So there's only one person being sent out to the store.
Right.
I mean, we're just treating it like we're still on lockdown regardless.
In the pandemic.
Right.
But the thing is, like you say, the other assholes out there are going to ruin that for us anyway. So it doesn't really matter, to a degree. We can wear the mask, but usually when you wear that for someone else.
Yeah.
Right. Other people aren't doing it.
Yeah, it doesn't do much to protect you. So when every other idiot is out at our mega grocery stores that we have here, and they're not wearing masks and they're, picking their nose and grabbing the macaroni and cheese, that's where we're at. So just waiting for it to come to us mostly.
Oh, shit.
By the time it gets to us, hopefully they'll have something figured out. That's almost the way you have to look at it, because people are just not careful and they don't care. They just want to be done with it. And I get wanting to be done with it. I want to be done with it. My kid has not spent time with another kid in like 3 months.
Yeah.
More.
Right.
He's a 10-year-old.
Yep.
That's not natural.
Yeah. So what about school? Is everybody kind of homeschooling and stuff? Or are schools supposed to be open? Are they closed or what?
Right now, we're in the last throes of summer school, which is non-compulsory. So school's wrapped up for the year. But since about March 18th, schools were closed here in Missouri.
Right.
And we all did distance learning.
Right.
Just online.
Right.
Which, as you can imagine, for things like special education, for things like how do you teach PE through a computer, physical ed?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. I don't know. I don't know that it's been the best. This is all we could do.
Yep.
Right.
But the thing that kind of worries me is just the fact that, like, we're looking here in like Boone County, Missouri, when the first 6 cases hit here, it was enough to make us go, oh shit, we need to shut everything down now.
Right.
Now we're up to 60 active cases in my town. Yeah, thousands that are in the interim, but 60 actives. Right. And they're like, yep, let's just go 10 times as many as what it took to shut everything down.
Right.
Is time to open everything back up. It makes no sense.
Right. And we've got a very, very incompetent governor.
Right.
Who is just complacent, whatever the president says, basically. He's going to follow that.
Oh, God.
Okay, well, we're opening back up. I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Really?
What are the families of all the people who are dead?
Oh, my God.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's a conspiracy.
Yes. They're state actors. They're not real. It's a hoax.
Right.
Yeah. Had somebody ask me, they're like, well, how many people do you really know personally? And I was like, well, let me think, 4, 2 who died. No, 3 who died, and 1 other who recovered. But yeah, 4. And it's just like, he looked at me like the answer was going to be 0.
Right. They're waiting.
Yeah.
Are you making that up?
No, fortunately not.
That's another thing. Conspiracy theorists, they need to be rounded up and put in a little fence and hit with sticks as well. I'm sorry. The whole fucking lot of them. Anti-vaxxers, they need their ankles snipped with gardening shears.
Yeah.
If you round all the QAnon people up and kind of push them into a big hole and then poured in enough liquid to fill the hole, I think humanity would probably be better off.
Right.
Yes, I think so, yeah. Yeah, this is what we do on a daily basis. And these are seriously the little fantasies I have just to bring my heart rate down and bring the palpitations and try and quell the road rage within.
I can see the campaign commercials like solving the world's problems one big hole and one big stick at a time.
I know. Just batter them in there.
That's the room for president.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, do you guys prefer to go by Illuminati or New World Order? I can't decide. I go back and forth.
Yes. I prefer aluminum.
There you go. The plural.
Yeah. Yeah, there's more wine in the thing. Go on. Yeah. So what are you guys going to do? Oh, it's Father's Day tomorrow.
It is. My kid's coming up from Mattstown, from Kansas City.
Yeah.
possibly see in-laws. Be the first time we've seen them in months too. So,
all right. Wow.
I think I'm going to just have meals made for me and get to pick what we watch on the television.
There you go.
That's my big day. I think there are some gifts waiting for me. I hope.
Woo-hoo.
Oh, and we're posting like our kids episode. We did that.
Yeah, good plug.
All right.
Yes, our kids, my daughter and his son, around the same age, 10 and 11, wanted to do their own podcast episode.
Right.
We've been sitting on it till Father's Day, so we're gonna throw that up.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's our plugging. It's pretty funny. There's some gold in there.
Who else have you been talking to recently?
We just had on Creston from Harvey Milk last night.
His episode should be dropping soon. Anything else you were wanting to plug? Anything else going on besides all the wonderful news about the album?
Yeah, we're releasing a single every month until the album drops. So every month on Bandcamp, in fact, everywhere it'll be released. I'm not sure. I think the next one's Heidi. I think we decided that.
Right on.
So the next one will be dropping on, I think it's the 3rd of July. Is that a Friday? Look it up there. I think the 3rd of July.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Friday the 3rd of July will be the next Ruby single dropping on Bandcamp and various outlets thereafter. So collect your pennies. And the last single, The Whole is Equal to the Sum of Its Parts, acoustic, is still available, and all of the money from that is going to racial justice charities, Act Blue in the States, bail funding charity in the States, and the Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust in the UK. So if you go and spend your pennies on that, it all goes to a good cause.
Right on. We totally appreciate that, especially sending some money our way. Could use it.
Well, I think it's only since, oh God, my cat's just... This is what happened.
Wookie, come here.
I'm totally...
Come here.
Cat face. Quite a big lad. And he's very fluffy and he's very nice, but he likes to get up in my lap and basically land right in front of my face. Yeah, it's got him now.
Right on. All right. Well, we don't want to keep you too late or anything.
It was nice to talk to you. Let's have another chat after November, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If we're not sending smoke signals across the Atlantic. And
right.
That'll be a lot.
Thanks for coming. Man, we always have a great time when you're on.
Right. Thank you very much.
All right, folks. You've been listening to Undetermined, the podcast with Lesley Rankine.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Thanks a lot. Look out for those drops.
Yeah, we'll do.